Hi, everyone. It's 4 o'clock in New York. The Marie Antoinette presidency of Donald J. Trump has a decidedly grifty edge to it today. As economic pain multiplies from Donald Trump's war of choice in Iran, there are signs that suggest a select group of insiders are cashing in. Democrats on Capitol Hill today are sounding the alarm after Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent floated the idea of economic support for the UAE, citing the country's close financial ties to the Trump family. New York Times reports that, quote, it is not clear how big a lifeline the Emirates might need or even whether it needs one at all. What is clear, however, is the financial relationship between the UAE and the Trump family. Earlier this year, the brother of the UAE's president bought a 49% stake in the Trump family crypto company, World Liberty Financial. It's a company which one Trump supporter and investor said was a, quote, golden opportunity to leverage the Trump brand to profit through fraud. Said that in a lawsuit he filed against the company. Donald Trump's sons have cleaned up during the war with Iran, with Donald Jr. personally benefiting from making investments in prediction markets, investments which have gone up tenfold in value since the start of Trump's second term as president. The AP reports this, quote, one of the biggest fee generators lately has been Trump's approach to the Iran war. Notably, his Truth Social post on April 5th, demanding the country, quote, open the effing straight. Trading on Polymarket soared with yes or no wagers on whether an invasion was imminent. That's according to one analysis firm, only to be surpassed on April 7th by betting on another question. Will there be a ceasefire? When Trump posted ominously that a, quote, whole civilization will die tonight. The Trump administration has sued states that are trying to ban prediction markets. And of course, there's the whole category that is the other son, Eric Trump. He recently went on Fox News to champion a $24 million Pentagon contract that his robotics company won.
I couldn't believe what I saw. Coming from hospitality, the uses are unlimited. When you go up and you interact with these robots and they fist bump you, they high five you, they follow your commands, you bring in AI autonomy, it's going to change industry, it's going to change military application, it's going to change hospitality.
The interview where Eric Trump talks about how robots can fist bump will be with me forever. Well, the Trumps are making out like bandits, with the Trump family's net worth up by nearly $3 billion since the second term began 15 months ago. The economic anxiety and the economic pain, the cost for everyone else in America is soaring, including for a whole bunch of Donald Trump's own voters and supporters who put him back in the White House largely because he promised them he would lower the cost of everything. Remember? The groceries, everything. Now, the International Monetary Fund says that the war in Iran could trigger a global recession. And the executive director of the International Energy Agency says that we are facing the biggest energy security threat in history. Grift for me, rising gas prices for thee, as Donald Trump's approach to running the White House is where we start today. Political analyst, former Senator Claire McCaskill joins us. Also joining us, Scott MacFarlane. He is now the chief Washington correspondent and host of Scott MacFarlane Reports for the Midas Touch, which I get in my email and I watch every day. You are absolutely killing it, my friend. And with me at the table for the hour, former Undersecretary of State for Public Diplomacy and Public Affairs during the Obama administration, MS Now political analyst Rick Stengel. Claire, I know that everything has been shuffled in the time of Trump, but there are a couple things that voters have always absolutely loathed, absolutely hated, and it is stealing and grifting and self-enrichment, corruption. Trump is doing it in full view, and so are his kids. What is the political, why haven't the laws of political gravity caught up with them?
Well, the corruption has been swallowed whole by the chaos. And Trump kind of knows that. I mean, he is chaotic on purpose. I mean, even within one sentence, he is chaotic, much less the way he's trying to run the country. So, it is, but it's fascinating to me because the Democrats are rightly focused on cost, but it really is the three C's: is cost and chaos and corruption. And the corruption is by far the most serious this country has ever seen. I mean, think back to the time that the Republicans were losing their you-know-what over Biden's son being on a board and selling some paintings. And look at what these sons are doing. It is outrageous that Eric Trump is getting contracts with the Pentagon. And somebody needs to be doing an investigation, if not now, then hopefully after we win in November, as to whether or not that was a competitive bid. I bet you a buck it wasn't.
And what about, I mean, Claire, what is sort of all the atrophied muscles in Congress certainly reveal themselves when Trump and his allies are enriching themselves on matters of war, where 13 U.S. service members have died, have lost their lives, 13 American families buried, sons and daughters, and a bunch of Trump cronies got rich on betting on which way the war would go?
Well, first of all, this has got to stop. I mean, betting on war is really not an American value. Making money off predicting what government does without any kind of regulation. I mean, we're worried about members of Congress trading stock. Give me a break. They've got to file really detailed financial disclosures every year. Isn't anybody worried about who's betting on these unregulated markets? Members of Congress and everybody in the Trump administration can make a boatload of money betting on these markets with insider information. And there's nobody policing it. It's frankly beyond outrageous. And there's so much work to be done if the Democrats do take majorities in the House and or the Senate in terms of investigations. But at the top of the list, it needs to be this corruption, because people need to make a stand that this is not going to be accepted in the future. This is not who we are as a country. This is not what the founding fathers envisioned, the way they set up our Constitution.
Yeah, I mean, Scott, I'm not sure how much of this even needs a roll-up-your-sleeves, old-school SDNY-style forensic accounting investigation. So much of it is happening in full view. Here's how Senator Jon Ossoff describes it.
Well, let's call it what it would be, which is a bailout for the United Arab Emirates. The financial entanglement, the way that UAE money, Emirati money from Emirati royals has compromised this White House is astonishing. It may be one of the most significant scandals in American history. Who are the president's two chief negotiators in the Middle East? Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff. Witkoff and his family are partners. His son, Zach Witkoff, is the key partner in the Trump family crypto business, which has received vast sums of money from Emirati royalty. The spy chief, the national security advisor in the United Arab Emirates, acquired a 49% stake in that business before the United States agreed to grant the UAE access to our most sensitive AI chips. Then you have Jared Kushner, his private equity firm, Affinity Partners, which in addition to receiving billions of dollars from Saudi Arabia, has received a lot of Emirati money. The people doing our diplomacy are at the same time doing personal business across the region that's enriching the first family. And meanwhile, my constituents in Georgia are paying $4 for gas, paying more for groceries, rent, power, and a meal out at a restaurant than ever before in American history.
I take Claire's point that the chaos and velocity of scandal make it difficult to focus in on one thing. But there is one thing that is never shielded from our eyes, and that's the fact that Jared Kushner, who is, by his own description of himself, a businessman, a man who didn't hide his pursuit of Middle East millions and millions. He got more than Steve Mnuchin got at the end of the first term after not having really the same kind of record as an investor. He has made no secret of all of the millions and millions in Middle East money he has under his direction. And he is the public face of American diplomacy at the time of war.
I appreciate that Senator McCaskill is willing to wager $1. I will bet the whole farm Democrats launch an investigation into Eric Trump's contract, Jared Kushner's business dealings, if and when they get the majority back in January. You can make book on that right now. But I can't get past the domestic politics of all this. Money for the UAE because of the war in Iran. Money for the Trump family or a contract for the Trump family, while clearly prices are the defining issue with roughly 150 days, Nicole, till early voting starts. And I saw a number that was shared with me earlier today. $250 million has been reserved by the House Majority PAC there to elect more Democrats in November. Listen to the states they're putting money in now. Tennessee, South Carolina, and Alaska. So U.S. House races. And this is like picking these economic issues for the Trump administration is like picking up a bunch of kryptonite and juggling it if you're Superman. You are begging for trouble.